Hello. Back in my exuberant youth, I wrote a musical based on Shakespeare's Richard III. Well, it never got produced, surprise, surprise, and it has lain in a cardboard box in my junk room, doesn't everybody have one, gathering dust for many a year. Just recently it occurred to me that as I'm currently making videos and uploading them onto the internet, this would be a golden opportunity to dust off the cobwebs from my creation and sing some of the songs from my hit show. Well, I call it my hit show because nobody writes a failure, do they? Richard III. An unlikely subject for a musical, you might think, but rather than a tragedy, I have always thought of Shakespeare's play as a black comedy, all those asides to the audience, etc. Even Richard's opening soliloquy is directed straight to the audience, putting forward his case and telling them he is determined to prove a villain. I think both those great actors, Laurence Olivier and Ian McKellen, tentatively broached the character of Richard a little in this way in their films. I've got a hair in my eye. McKellen even getting a laugh from the assembled crowd with his pun on the word son in the famous first two lines. So, you can see how it starts. A little chuckle here, a hiss and a boo there, and a rubbing of hands as the audience realise they're in for a bit of blood and gore. Ooh, goody! However, I would venture that my concoction is not as dark as sometimes Sweeney Todd, and hopefully there's a few more laughs. But there is one incident that makes Richard arguably a darker character than Sweeney Todd, notwithstanding the latter's propensity for slitting throats at the drop of an H, and that is the death of the princes in the Tower. We shall never know for sure if Richard was the instigator of this double homicide, although Tudor propaganda and Shakespeare's obsequiousness to the reigning monarch would have us believe it so. And for conspiracy theorists, it ranks up there with landing on the moon, 9/11, and the death of Diana. But even if Richard did order their murder, he was only doing what the English royal family have been doing for centuries, right up to the present day, protecting their own. To paraphrase a line from The Godfather, sorry boys, it's nothing personal, it's business. But because the princes were only 13 and 10 years old at the time of their death, it is for this reason that the stigma of Richard being labelled England's black-hearted king has persisted to this day. Had the princes both been at least 18 and considered men, history would probably have shrugged its shoulders and said, oh well, that's life. Or not, as the case may be. So, we have our anti-hero we love to hate, and we journey with him, privy to all his inner thoughts and secrets, as he manoeuvres his Machiavellian way to the throne, and which he succeeds in taking. But hey, being mere mortals, we demand that while we've enjoyed watching his murderous machinations, he should pay for his misdemeanours. Thank heaven for the Battle of Bosworth. Thank heaven Richard was killed. Hooray! We've got an ending. But what if Richard had been victorious on the day? What if he defeated Henry and lived until he died in comfortable old age? Well, Shakespeare might never have written his play, and I certainly would never have written my musical. Now, I'm not going to give a synopsis here. It more or less follows Shakespeare's play, and to appreciate that completely would necessitate a knowledge of the Wars of the Roses and the various factions involved, which are too convoluted to go into here. Nor am I going to sing any of the songs on this video. I'll be doing those on other videos, one on each in fact. I'll even be doing a few of the women's songs too. But I won't be dragging up or doing them in costume. I shall merely be acting as a conduit, relating what I've written to you, the suffering viewer. And they won't be in chronological order either, and I probably won't be doing all of them. After you've watched a couple, you might say thank God for that. And by all means, please tell me what you think. Oh, and hey, Mr. Producer, if you're watching, my email is at the end of the videos. Sir.